Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at the technical analysis on the 1 hour, 1 day and 1 week timeframes, taking a look at that most recent price action and where I think things are heading for BTC. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Let's go ahead and jump right down into today's video, kicking things off with that 1 hour time frame. So here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're using the BitGet spot exchange on the 1 hour time frame. Now as you can kind of see, we're still expecting this move to the downside. This is basically 26,191 to 26,309. We've been kind of just trading sideways here. Okay, we can see that we've been coming down into new or lower highs and lower lows for the most part. And we started this move upwards. To me, it still looks like we have to progress on down. And we are still trying to target out this low side. However, we have to adjust this based on this new wave 4 high that happened after we had this move down. So we can see here that we have a 3-wave correction to the upside, pretty typical of a wave 4, nothing unusual about that. And we are in the middle of potential diagonal structure coming down in that 5th wave movement. Okay, so again, this is going to be a lot of overlap, very, very boring, unfortunately, slow kind of grind. It can truncate, i.e. it can fall short of our target range, which is actually just adjusted down a little bit deeper because of that wave 4 high. So it does come in at 26,160 to 26,296. Okay, so we can see that this is where we're kind of heading. Now, the only way to break out of this, it would be for us to rally on up higher than the wave 1 low. That would be 26,802 cents. So essentially, we couldn't break, if we break up higher than that, we can't have the low within the structure. It would have to be something different that would have occur. So just bear that in mind. But for the most part, it's been quite a slow, boring weekend so far. I expect more volatility on the Sunday, usually typically because of the weekly close positions and things like that. We saw the death cross on the hourly chart yesterday as well. Again, this only is an indication of what's already happened, not of what's going to happen. And again, you saw a little bit of negativity here as in price still being suppressed by the 200 EMA, the 50 EMA, and the 50 SMA. Ultimately, all being resistance for us right now on this 1 hour time frame. We can also take a look and say, okay, well, we're still within our bullish structure and that has not changed. So we don't have to worry terribly too much about that. So we're not in a bearish structure from a smart money concepts point of view just yet, but things can change pretty quickly. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Take this up into the daily and we have some more interesting things occurring. We have got that death cross. It's about to happen today. You can see that right here. We have the 50 exponential moving average crossing down lower than the 200 exponential moving average. So a death cross on the hourly time frame. Again, this is only showing you what's already happened, not what is about to happen. Okay, it only shows you what's already occurred. Now, when we take a look at this from an SMA as well, you can see that the 50 simple moving average is already way below that of the 200 of the 50 EMA, I should say. And from the MA point of view, we can also see that that's just crossed here as well. So the moving average is now crossing with the exponential moving average lower than the 200. Basically, short-term price action is lower than the long-term price action and prices below these things. These are all bearish kind of setups where we might see further downside for BTC. Okay, so just bear these things in mind. It's not positive on the daily time frame. The stochastic RSI is also indicating that we are heavily in the higher ranges, meaning that momentum is likely to shift back to the downside. Okay, we were overbought just a few days ago. We started to come down quite aggressively, and we still have further to go to the downside. Okay, so daily time frame, not that good. However, when we take this up into the weekly, well, the weekly is actually showing us with a potential golden cross on the horizon. Okay, so it's not so bad on the macro level time frame. Okay, we can see that the medium time frame has death crosses, and we can see there's some volatility to be expected on the small time frames, but on the larger weekly time frame, actually things are not too bad. Now, obviously, the bulls and the bears are still fighting it out. They are fighting it out between the 50 and 200 EMAs at the moment, with the bulls trying to close above $26,817. If they do this, then we'll be in a reasonably strong position to maybe have a bit of a rally to the upside a little bit earlier than expected. And of course, the bears are going to be trying to close below the 200 EMA. This comes in at the $25,691. And so we obviously have to experience a little bit of volatility here as the bulls and the bears fight out for their close position today. But as I said, there's a golden cross potential here on the horizon. We're probably several weeks away from this, but we have got the SMA, the 50 SMA, this yellow line just here, actually on an aggressive upward turn, while we have a 200 EMA being rather flat. This here is an indication of a golden cross that's probably about a month or so out in the future. And again, because these things are laggy, they're only going to show you what's already happened. Okay, so in order for us to kind of see a continued uptick on our 50 SMA, for example, we're going to want to see an uptick in price. Failure to do so, we're going to see this negative price action that's already happened take effect into the SMA, right, that simple moving average, which means we might avoid the golden cross. But there's a potential setup here for the SMA to cross the 200 EMA, and that on the weekly time frame could be very, very positive. We are, of course, in an oversold area, so we are looking for momentum to shift to the upside. We just need a good excuse to get those bulls rallied up around it. Ultimately, though, volumes are unfortunately still quite low, which is why we see a rather boring, stagnant Bitcoin, while volatility exists more at the altcoin level. Okay, we see a lot of new bear market lows for many altcoins, and it's still a continued effort on many of them. They haven't yet bottomed out, right? So we know that we're deep in this bear market. This bear market is continuing. Even if Bitcoin's already bottomed, which is possible that it has, it's also very possible that it has not, okay? But if it has, even if Bitcoin has bottomed, many altcoins still have not, okay? It's important that we understand that there's this kind of stagnant phase for Bitcoin where it's very boring, not much happens, there's not a lot of demand for it. And that's because simply the bear market is, by its very definition, where supply outpaces demand. We have very low demand in the crypto space at the moment. This is something that we can see within the Google search engine, for example, with search terms. Basically, there's very little search activity happening on YouTube, on Google, on Twitter, and so forth. And so when we take a look at these things, we understand that actually, although there's a reasonably positive sentiment out there, there isn't actually a lot of people, a lot of demand in the space for cryptocurrency assets. And as such, it's really hard for us to be tricked into thinking that we're in a bullish market without the demand that backs it up. A bull market is, by its very definition, when demand outpaces supply. And so we want to make sure that we're very aware that, you know, we are still in very bearish times. New altcoins are hitting new bear market lows consistently, and Bitcoin here is very, very stagnant. So a golden cross on the weekly time frame actually puts us in a rather positive position. If we do see a very significant surge with Bitcoin, then I think we're going to start to see a bit of life and a bit more demand come back in. Altcoins will stay a bit higher in the prices, avoiding any new bear market lows, and we might be able to start to see a bit of a reversal. But until that happens, I think it's very unlikely. Now, when I zoom out of here, you can still see that there is the possibility of a Bitcoin low, a new lower low. Okay, we don't want to rule this out just yet. We want to see how price reacts to some key levels of support first. And I do think a $20,000 Bitcoin is something that I have to see at some point in the future to see how price tests and whether that's going to hold as a good key support for us. Failure to do so may actually lead us down in towards our low trend line, which if I zoom out of, guys, you can see this is where we connect all of those lows together, okay, and all those highs together, okay, across the all the way from 2011, right? So everything from 2011 all the way through to current, connect all those low points, and you can see a Bitcoin requirement of around $12,000, right? And this is USD, and it might be different on stable coins, but for the most part, you could see how that might play out. This is also something that was avoided back in the 2018 bear market low for Bitcoin, but we did tap down on this line in March 2020, right? And although it wasn't a new lower low because time had progressed, this line had actually risen up to connect to this point. However, there is one thing that we have to consider here, And that is that we have kind of reached the elasticity of BTC here, right? We can see diminishing gains and things like that across the time horizon. So we want to be quite aware here that things are starting to turn back down. It's not necessarily looking as positive as we want it to be slightly longer term. So it's going to be harder to avoid tapping this line and it not being a bear market low, if you understand what I mean. And so for the most part, it's an interesting time for Bitcoin. I expect volatility today. Expect the bulls and the bears to try to fight it out, and ultimately we're looking at death cross on the daily and a potential golden cross in about a month's time on the weekly chart. So let me know what your thoughts are on all of that in the comments down below. I'm going to leave the video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And until the next one, have a fantastic day.